Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is morning time, my favorite time of the day. And here I am. I just did some prayer and stretching exercises. And here I'm outside now doing some calisthenics. I'm doing some pull-ups. And it's also my favorite time to make videos. Not only is the light just perfect at this time, but there's less distractions at this time as well. And the weather's nice here right at the moment. So here's what I want to talk about today is, look, this came from my tree a couple of days ago. This came from my tree a couple of days ago. Those are bananas. This is papaya. This here's a mamey. And I have over there a jackfruit. This is very important to understand for those of you that eat a raw food diet or eat a lot of fruits and vegetables in your diet. What do you notice about this that's different than when you've seen a papaya, other than it being extremely big? I have a tree right here with it growing on there. You see how big it is, but what else do you notice? What do you notice about these bananas? What do you notice about these bananas? And this fruit, many of you don't know, if this is a mamey americana and there's scratch marks in it. Why are there scratch marks in here? Well, that's a very important topic that I want to talk about today. It's the ripeness of fruit. When you pick fruit or when you eat fruit that was not picked when it's ripe, it is not going to have the same, from a nutritional standpoint, I'll say nutrients. From an overall health standpoint, I'll say the same vitality in the fruit. And the same thing can go for vegetables. It's knowing when to pick these things. Oh, I didn't even show you the mangoes up here. Look at those mangoes. This is stuff that I'm growing at my house. And this is how I know what's ideal for us. You see, these bananas, you pick the stalk off the tree. When the first banana turns yellow, it's time to pick them off. Now, if you pick them when they're green, they will ripen. Bananas are the only fruit that can properly ripen off a tree after it's picked without losing nutrition, they say. So there are other fruits that'll ripen, like a papaya. You pick a papaya green like they do, and that's the difference. You see how this is yellow? In the stores, they can't do this because this is going to last now only a couple of days before I have to start eating it because I picked it ripe. But when you're flying this thing across the country to sit in some supermarket halfway around the world or something, you can't pick it ripe off the tree. You have to pick it when it's unripe, when it's green. Now it will appear to ripen off the tree, and it will ripen off the tree where it becomes edible. But the fullest amount of nutrients that are in this is when you pick it off the tree at its ripe stage. As for bananas, you can pick these greens and they will ripen, but you don't get bananas like this ripe in a store. What they do is they pick it up super green, and then they actually have to gas it, and they put toxic chemicals on it and gas on it to help it ripen properly. Again, even if these will turn yellow after you pick them, the only way you can pick these the right way is to buy them locally or get them from a local farmer that you know, and so on. These mangoes that are on a tree here, they're green mangoes. Some people actually eat green mangoes. It's very popular in Asia and India. Some people pickle them, and they're pickled mangoes. But I wait for them to get ripe before I consume them. Now, there are some varieties that you pick unripe only because they either ripen too quickly or they don't have the same flavor if you pick them unripe. But I'm talking if you pick them unripe, they'll ripen within 1 or 2 days. Same thing. When you're getting fruit, it should ripen a couple of days, even if you pick it off unripe off the tree. However, there's fruits that are sitting in store markets for 1 or 2 whole weeks before they start getting bad or start getting overripe, let's say, or even ripe. That is not natural. That's not nature. The only way that's going to happen is if you pick it way too early. When you're picking it at the right stage, even bananas that don't need to be picked completely yellow, it should get yellow within a couple of days. If you have to wait weeks for your food to become ripe, something's wrong with that. Food should real food, not processed junk in a bag, box, container, or can, or a real food should have 3 stages to it. It should have a ripening stage, a freshness stage, and a rotting stage. That's what real food should have. A ripening stage, which would be like this. It's starting to get ripe. It's starting to get ripe. It's still a little bit hard. This will be ready in a day or two. The ripening stage, then the freshness stage. You'll have a couple of days where you can eat this. Couple of days before they start going bad. We call it rotten. Right now, this is pre-ripen stage. It's not ripe yet. It's not ready to be picked. But the local supermarkets, they don't pick it when it's ripe like this. And what's happened is it becomes more, and that way, by the way, that's why this, which is a mame sapadilla, or mame sapote, you scratch it. And when you scratch it, it has to be like red or orange. That's when you know how to pick it. Because if not, it's picked too soon. You're going to be lacking in flavor, nutrition, but even more important, these foods, a lot of these foods are naturally alkalizing for the body, but they're acidic when you pick them off unripe. There's so many differences from the enzymes to the nutrients to the water content to the alkalinity versus acidity of the food when you pick a food at its unripe stage. This is why I say and caution people about store-bought food. I hear some people that try a vegan diet, a vegetarian diet, or even a raw food diet that they say they haven't succeeded, they weren't successful. And I find out 100% of the food they were eating was bought from the store. And yes, I'd much rather you have a banana from the store or an orange from the store than some processed junk food from the store. However, if you really want to experience the highest level of health, either grow your own food if you have the opportunity to do so, or go to a farmer who's growing. And do you know anywhere in the United States, you can find a local farm that's growing local food? Anywhere. Now, it might not be all year long, but you can go up to a cold state like Minnesota and in the wintertime, or in the summertime at least, find farmers growing foods that are naturally grown in that region. And then the more you get south, the longer of a season you can cover. That's why I encourage you all to visit local farmers markets, getting the food there and speaking to the farmer, and maybe planning a trip and going to visit the farm one day. If you live up in the Northeast or here in the Southeast in one of the Amish communities, maybe become on friendly base with them and see how they do things there and maybe get that. I'm not into dairy products or anything like that, but if I was, they're the people I would get it from. I wouldn't be going to the supermarket to buy this. So these are things to consider. Just remember how far your food had to travel to get to you when you eat it. And if it's a long ways, its chances are it was picked at the wrong time. This thing's almost bigger than my head, or it is. So just remember that. Think about that. So when I go to the store and when I do buy something from the store, this occasionally I do, and strictly, especially store-bought fruits, do your best to buy organic, because fruit just fell off the tree there. But here it is. Do your best to buy organic, because I know firsthand from spraying and growing certain foods and seeing people that spray their foods how much chemicals really go into it. And for example, you might say, oh, well, I'm not going to eat the skin, so it's okay to eat. Well, if I took a can of Black Flag road spray and sprayed this up and I said, oh, you can wash it, it's no problem, or just peel it, would you still eat it? Most likely not, because you got to see it to realize how much you're spraying it. And they'll dip all these things in a lot of toxins if you're not keeping an eye on this or understand what's going on. So that's another reason not to get store-bought stuff. But if you have to buy stuff from the store, definitely you want to get stuff that's grown in this country. Now, as bad as it can be, at least this country has some standards when it comes to organic food, because we don't know what other countries have. And also, it's not going to be as far as other countries. So I'm very cautious about food from other countries, even organic, because I don't know the organic standards in other countries. So if you got to get store-bought food, I'm not saying organic is always more nutritious, but it's going to be less toxic in terms of the chemicals they use, most likely. The best place, if you can't grow it, is to get a friend who's growing food, or a local farmer's market, or even mail order. I have friends that ship fruit in the mail. I'll put some links below that's picked right off their tree. They'll send it right to you, no middleman involved. That's another great option. And then finally, if you got to go to the store, do your best to go to a store that has a good reputation, honest, and also, is doing their best to have a quick turnover rate on the food where it doesn't have to sit on the shelf so long. And hopefully these tips and suggestions may help you. You can grow your own food at home through sprouts and microgreens, which I do all the time, and I recommend. By the way, bananas are a great food in general if you have to buy store-bought stuff. But be careful with other things like leafy greens or things you're eating the skin. Be careful with those. And also, again, look at the country. A lot of bananas come from out of the country, but try to get some that are grown. I don't know any bananas that are grown in the country that sell in the supermarkets these days. And many people don't even know there are different varieties to bananas out there. This one's called a Namwa banana. There's so many different varieties. Another thing I didn't know, and it flavors out of this world. So you can taste all these different types of foods. Depending when you're watching this, we're going to have there's the mangoes. We're going to have a mango festival, depending when you're watching this, June 29th, 2025 here in West Palm Beach, Florida. Right near the airport, you could fly in, taste tons of different varieties of mangoes, picked ripe off the tree and see how they are. And if you've missed that, check back next year for another one. I'll put the link below to that, depending when you watch this. But I want to encourage you all, if you're eating healthy, eat healthy. Don't go halfway and just say, I'm not eating meat or something. Well, replace it with some healthy food, not some more processed vegan junk food, or even when you're eating fruits and vegetables, do your best to seek out the best. All right? All right, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I hope you make good choices. If you have comments or questions, put them below. Until then, everybody, have a great day and a great world life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.